Hi. All right. Um, this will be, where did my mouse go? There we go. Part demo, part FYI, really. So we're making progress on starting to convert over to Playwright from Cypress. So first step is we now have an actual dashboard in Omni that gives us all of the stats that we normally get from Cypress Cloud now in Omni. So everything is available. We can continue to adapt and expand what we have available to us here. You can do, click through and be able to, of course, you do have to have a tunnel open to Playground to be able to look at the logs right now, because that's what we're using as our authentication method to make sure it's not publicly accessible. So if I go back there and refresh real quick, you can get the full Playwright report and be able to look through and look at individual runs and all of that kind of stuff. It takes a moment to load because we are tunneling everything through here, but you'll be able to see everything that basically what we can see in Cypress today should be available. So that's one piece that's relatively ready to go. I need to add in a few things into the GitHub jobs themselves so it's easy to navigate to these spots, but making progress on that front. One of the things we're additionally going to add in is now that I've started migrating tests over, we're going to not fail builds for tests that have been migrated until we're at a point where everyone should have their hands in Playwright, but any newly added Playwright tests will be able to fail the builds. So I think Luke and Meredith are going to be my guinea pigs starting next week, trying to get some of the container work, building out the end-to-end tests in Playwright as opposed to Cypress. One other piece, so I've been using Claude and Cursor and whatever other AI agent I can convince to try and do some of the conversion of these tests for me. They all feel like petulant teenagers at some point and keep telling me things are too hard and stop working. But through continued persistence, we've been able to convert over most of the workbook smoke tests. A couple changes I wanted to call out. One is I'm starting to add in more spots where we can use seeds essentially as opposed to doing a lot of setup. So in the current smoke tests for setting up these pivot tests, we go through and click on a lot of places and set up a bunch of pivots. And now in the new ones, you just need to make a call to add a document with the appropriate fields and pivots. Stop it, cursor. So that we save a bunch of that setup time and get to the point where we're actually testing the thing we want to be testing better. And then the other large piece is I'm converting us over to the page object model, kind of a loose-ish page object model. So now each kind of page in our system will have a class with a whole bunch of getters to be able to access the items that we want, giving optimization for all of the accessible locators that we have, and then a bunch of helper methods. So the tests themselves shouldn't have a whole lot of locators and pieces like that scattered throughout them, but instead the tests become a lot more human readable. And if we make a change as to where something is or how you access it, we've got one spot to make those changes. So all of this should be coming soon, and if anyone is super excited or interested, please reach out at any point. Always welcome to help. That's it.